everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed build video. Today we are going to be building a family friendly home in Willow Creek. I think I mentioned this in my last speed build. I promised that I would start building slightly larger family homes, so this is the start of it. It's not huge, but it's not small either. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. Obviously, if you are returning to the channel, then I think you've noticed a little bit of a pattern that I've been going through where I've been building sort of like 1 or 2 bedroom homes, and I thought let's build a bit of a bigger house this time. We're building in Willow Creek. This size lot is probably slightly small for this house. However, I wasn't actually planning on building a house this big. Initially, I'd actually built a very autumnal house, but I wasn't happy with it at all, so I completely scrapped it, went on Pinterest, had a look at some building exteriors and found the inspiration for this house. I'm so pleased with how this build came out. It's probably one of my best ones to date, and I never say that about my own work, but I'd like to think that this is probably one of the better houses that I've built. This, along with, I've got a build on my gallery page called Lakeside View. They're very similar in shape, so we've built this sort of L-shaped home, which I actually really like the look of. We don't have many here in the UK, or at least not where I live, but when I do see them, I am very drawn to them. I like the fact that they are obviously L-shaped, and I just think they look really nice. They're sophisticated. I think you can utilise a lot of the space, especially if you're working on a slightly more narrow lot, which we're working with here today in Willow Creek. I think it's just a 20 by 30 lot, so it's not a huge one. I think I could have possibly built this in Brindleton Bay and possibly moved it to a slightly larger lot size, but I decided to build on this one in Willow Creek. Obviously, building on this size lot meant that we don't have a very big back garden, but if you know me and you are returning to the channel, you know that back gardens are not my favourite things to build in The Sims 4, so it's probably a good thing because they're not my strong suit either. I have promised that I'll try and get better at it because I know a lot of people enjoy sort of getting their Sims to spend time in back gardens, but for me personally, I think I need to start researching some back gardens a bit because I find them really hard. I don't know what you guys think. If you guys are builders in The Sims 4, how do you find gardens? Because I find them, they're quite boring. I mean, for me, they're probably the most boring part of the build. The most exciting part for me is working on the exterior, the colour schemes. The garden at the front I really enjoy doing, but the garden at the back I can't get excited about it, and I think that's why I often put it off and put it off and put it off, and this build is no exception. We have a very large deck at the back with no garden space. I think we end up putting a swing set in the back and a dining room table, and that's pretty much it. So if you do download this house, then please feel free to change that accordingly, but you know, if you're here for my builds, then you know that you're not going to get much of a garden with them, so I do apologise, but I will definitely try my best to make myself better at doing them. So, let's talk about this build. So, the exterior of this house, I had a lot of trouble finding a colour scheme. I initially wanted to do another autumn themed house. I mean, I did one a couple of weeks ago, and you guys seem to really like it, and I really liked it. Autumn is my favourite time of year. The colour schemes, everything about it I absolutely love. So I really enjoy doing autumn themed builds in The Sims 4, along with Christmas builds, but we'll talk about that obviously later on in the year. Let's get through autumn first before we start talking about Christmas. But then this build sort of turned into a more traditional American suburban family house, which I'm not mad about because I actually really like it. The pops of red were a last minute decision, but I think they work quite well with the blue and the dark wood exterior. They sort of give it that sort of pop and hint of extra colour, I guess. I think it works quite well. You'll have to let me know what you think in the comment section below. But I did want to do my usual of like a wraparound porch with a large roof, but I left that out of this build because I do it a lot, and I've been doing it in all of my builds recently, so I decided to do something a little bit different and leave sort of the decking area uncovered by a roof. So it's not a wraparound porch, it is cut off by the side of the house, as you can see. So we have the back area here, which we extend out, because I realised that on the left hand side there wasn't going to be much of a decking area, and I thought that's not going to work. So there's a lot of me fiddling with this build, especially at the back of the house. I find it very easy to build the front of the house because that's what I have a photograph reference to on Pinterest. The backs of the houses, it's very rare that I will find a reference image where I can use the front and the back of the build. So I often just have to sort of leave it to my own imagination, which is why the backs of my builds don't often look as good as the front, because I'm not using a reference image. It's all coming from my own head. So I should probably try and find reference images where I can see both the front and the back of the house, because I think then they would both be equally as strong. But moving on to the inside of the house here, again, I didn't think anyone would want to see me trying to battle with coming up with a floor plan, because if you are returning to the channel, then you will know how much I struggle with floor plans. So I prefer to do it off camera because I feel less pressure, and also it's a lot of time wasting for me, especially with the speed build. And I mean, this speed build is over 20 minutes long already, so if I'd have put in me trying to do the floor plan, I'm not exaggerating, it would probably have been pushing 30 minutes. That's how long it took me. I'm terrible, I'm shocking. To try and get this to be a 3-bedroom house, I could have probably pushed it to a 4-bedroom, but then we wouldn't have had this nice big open plan kitchen living space, which we all know I absolutely love. Again, something I should probably start doing is doing a separate kitchen and a separate living room, but I really like the open plan sort of idea. I mean, I don't have that personally in my house, but I think it looks great in The Sims, and for gameplay as well, I think it works really, really well. We do end up putting a kind of partition wall in between the kitchen and the living room, which we will see in a moment. We do like these beams and the columns as well, which I think just sections it off quite nicely. But with the house in general, I wanted to give this sort of family feel to it. I really wanted it to be, you know, a cozy family home, and hopefully we achieved that with this build. That was my intention. A lot of indecisiveness with this. I worked on this today, so I'm actually building, recording, doing the voiceover. I'm doing everything all in one day, which is unusual for me because I usually do it over the space of 2 or 3 days, and then I can sort of think about what I can talk about, you know, during the speed build. But because it was fresh in my memory, and because I was so pleased with how it came out, I thought it's probably just easier for me to get it done all in one go. So yeah, so here's the partition wall that's going up. That does change ever so slightly, so we remove 2 of the columns because I think it seemed a little bit too much too much, I guess. So we end up changing that ever so slightly and just filling in these sort of spaces here with some just general clutter items, not items that can be used necessarily, but obviously items that look the most realistic. You know, like what would you put in a space like that in a house? You know, it'd probably be drawers and a plant and, you know, just things that take up the space and make it look a little bit more lived in. But I was thinking, I had a quick look at the kitchen and thought, this is not cluttered enough. We all know I love a cluttered kitchen, so I went back in and just added some stuff from the Cool Kitchen stuff pack, which I absolutely love using to clutter up my kitchens. And I think we changed the rug in the kitchen as well, because we end up putting a tile floor down instead of the wooden floor. Yes, here we go. So this is me deciding which flooring to go for, because I didn't want to do it where it would make it look washed out and cold. I still wanted to keep that warmth in there, so it was really important for me to keep the tile, quite warm rather than just white. And we go in and use these 2 sofas from the Eco Lifestyle pack, which I think work quite nicely. And then here's me trying to find a rug to put down, but I think we end up using this one here, which is one of my all-time favorite rugs. And we use this little chair from the Nifty Knitting Stuff pack, which I have been using a lot. Actually, I can't think of a build that I haven't used it in yet. I don't think we used it in my last apartment speed build, but I could be wrong. So we are going in and just, again, cluttering up the empty areas. I like to call them empty areas, and I often think, what would I put in an empty area, or what have I put in an empty area of my house personally? And sort of thinking back to, you know, you see reference images all the time on Pinterest and things like that, so sort of like space saving items, I guess, you know, like for realism, you would probably have this in here so you can keep maybe DVDs or PlayStation games or just general knickknacks sort of in the cabinet. So that's what we've gone for. And then we put this sort of like wooden wall, and then this really nice, I want to say it's like a soft mint green colour, just to tie the sofa in as well on the other wall there, which I think looks quite nice. And here's me trying to decide what to go on the walls, because again, filling the blank spaces, you know, how would these look in it? That's why you see me sort of dropping down into the shot. How would this look in a screenshot? Where's the blank space? There's a blank space there. What can I fill it with? What would make it look a little bit more interesting for the eye? So because I started my sort of like Sims journey on Tumblr, a lot of my work has been screenshot oriented. So if you see me sort of dropping down into the build, it's because I'm having a look to see what it would look like in a screenshot. So that's what I'm doing. I have had a few people ask me what I'm doing when I do that, so I thought I would explain, but that's what we're doing. So we're dropping down and just seeing how it would look if I took a screenshot there and then, and if I see a blank space, okay, so what would look good there? So not that that's very interesting, but some people have asked me, so I hope that clears things up there. And there are a lot of plants in this build, but again, if you follow my builds, you will know that I like to use a lot of plants in my builds. I always say, when in doubt, put in a plant. Blank space, don't know what to put there, put a plant. You can't really go wrong, you know? Or at least that's my opinion anyway. You know, I think some people would probably think, oh, there are too many plants in this build. Hey, that's just my style, and I'm not sorry for it, because that's who I am. So moving on to the sort of open plan hallway here, I love this side table from the Cats and Dogs expansion pack. It's an item that I use a lot in my builds, especially my family friendly ones, because it's got this sort of like rustic feel to it, which I really, really like. And we use this rug from, again, the Nifty Knitting Stuff pack, which again, I have used in a lot of my builds. There are certain items that I use a lot of, and that rug is definitely one of them in pretty much, I think we've used it in all the swatches as well. So it's just a really versatile item that I really like using. So again, not sorry, you know. I think I should maybe do a build where I use items that I don't normally use, and maybe see if I can come up with something like half decent, because I'm not convinced that I could. I think a lot of my builds are quite samey. I'm trying to expand my horizons a little bit, but then I don't want to lose that sort of essence, you know, that makes my builds mine. Now I'm rambling. And this is normally where I ask, so how's your day going? So how's your day going, everybody? I've had coffee today, so that's why I'm a little bit hyperactive. So yeah, so what's been going on with you guys? I have been working from home today. I'm actually working from home until Thursday next week, which I'm really happy about, because I really like working from home. So yeah, what have you guys been up to? Anything interesting? Drop me a comment below. Let me know how your day is going. Have you done a Sims build recently? Send me some screenshots. Point me in your direction. You know, let's support each other. So this is the downstairs bathroom, which I think looks really cute. I really like how that turned out. I think it flows really nicely with everything in the house, and I think it looks really nice. And this bedroom here, whilst I'm just adding some more lights to the rest of the house, was going to be sort of like a neutral guest bedroom. So you'll see me here, how can I keep this neutral? How can I keep this, you know, whatever? And then it turns into more of a teen / uni student room, which I'm actually really glad I did, because it's been a long time since I've done sort of like a teenage room. Normally I do children's rooms, and there is one in this house, and it only has one bed. I think I should give myself a pat on the back for that, because normally I put in 2 beds into a children's room, but no, I've just put the one, and I could have fit 2 beds in there as well. So I'm giving myself a pat on the back as we speak. Well done, Rachel. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm so sad, I really am. So here we are, we're just cluttering up the teenagers' room. Once I got into it, I found it a lot easier to find items to put in there, but it did take me a little bit of time there just to get used to it, because like I said, I'm used to doing children's rooms rather than teenagers' rooms. But you got to put some candles in there, you know. I like candles now, and I'm nearly 30 years old, but I can imagine that a teenager would probably want their room to smell quite nice. But there are candles throughout this build, because again, if you know me as a builder, candles are something that I cannot live without in real life or in my Sims builds. Let's talk about candles for a minute. I love candles. Candles, wax melts, you name it. Anything that makes your house smell good, I am absolutely on board for. You know, I think, well, my sister got me into, I think I've talked about this before, wax melts. And I have a wax melt plastic tub that I keep all my wax melts in, and they're all arranged and they're all organised, and I love them. I absolutely love them. I will light them every time I'm in the house. Not every room in my house has a wax burner, but a lot of them do. Every room in my house has a candle, including the bathrooms, and I am not exaggerating with that. In my office alone, I have a wax melt burner and 2 candles. So I mean business. So my Sims houses always mean business too, because I always put candles in them as well. I'm rambling again. Why does no one stop me? So this is the laundry room of this house. I think this was a really good addition for this house as well. And I'm going to pat myself on the back again, because I remembered to put in the laundry baskets. I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, I forgot them in not my last build, but I think the build before. When did I forget the laundry baskets? I can't remember. Anyway, that's not important. I did forget them. And just while we're talking about this bedroom, I wanted to use that ghost wallpaper so badly, but I couldn't make it work in this particular house. That's not to say I can't make it work in another house. You know, I'm planning on doing another autumnal build, or 5 or 6 or 10 over the next couple of months. So I am going to find a way to make to use that wallpaper, because it's so cute. I'd have that in my house now, like in my bedroom. I don't think my husband would be very impressed, but I would definitely have that in our bedroom. So this is the children's bedroom. Look, there's only 1 bed in here. Yes, amazing. And I could have fit 2 in. It would have been a bit of a squeeze, but I could have done it. But instead, this child has a desk, a computer. They've got a cute sort of like drawer system. They've got a mirror. It is a really cool children's room, and I'm really happy with how it came out. I think it looks really cute. And I sized up this penguin from the Nifty Knitting Stuff Pack, and I think that looks awesome. I was a bit concerned that it was going to go a bit pixelated, but it didn't, and I am so surprised with how good it looks. And we're just putting some posters up and a mirror and all those other cool things that kids would want to use in their room. And now we're moving on to the upstairs. So upstairs is just the master bedroom with the ensuite. It's really nothing special. The master bedroom isn't anything to write home about, but just in keeping with the tone of the house, I wanted to keep it quite, I don't want to say boring, because the house isn't boring, but it's not as fun as some of my other builds. Some of the rooms are, but I think I just wanted to keep the master bedroom quite muted, and I think we achieved that. And I also wanted to make sure that they had an ensuite as well, because obviously the bathroom downstairs would be primarily for obviously the children in the bedrooms downstairs, but also just when your Sims are pottering about, they shouldn't have to come upstairs. So that was the thought process there. So I really hope you like this house, and if you do, it is now available to download from the gallery. My origin ID is RachelPedd. The tray files are available to download from the description below. They are available to download from Sim File Share. But if you do like this house, please feel free to download it. Tweet me at RachelPedd, show me some screenshots, and yeah, I really hope you like it. I've had such fun doing this for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I will see you next time. Bye!